Bharat Post News, Gyan and Organ Donation India Foundation. Our endeavor is to enlighten you with the current topic. And today's topic is not only current, very relevant, very hot, very burning. The topic is dowry system in India. But before I will go on the main topic, I would like to inform you about their dowry, making the women's homes the most dangerous place for them to be. Dowry deaths are found predominantly in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Iran. So we are in a club of Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Iran, although we are Vishwagurus. Dowry-related matters accounted for the lives of 19 women every day in 2020, as per National Crime Record Bureau, NCRB. And viewers, you have to be aware that in 2020, the most of the 2020 was in lockdown. In spite of that, 19 women lost their life. And this is only reported cases. How many unreported, nobody knows. A total of 6,966 cases of dowry deaths with 7,045 victims were reported in that year, the Crime Bureau report said. In India, it has its roots in medieval times when a gift in cash or kind was given to a bride by her family to maintain her independence after marriage. During the colonial period, it becomes the only legal way to get married, with the British making the practice of dowry mandatory, although they have not made it in their own country. The trend in present India, with its booming economy, is now encouraging ever higher bride prices among all socio-economic strata. But the rising bride price has brought with it an increase in violence against women. Dowry violence is usually perpetrated by husband or the in-laws in a bid to extract a higher dowry from the bride's family. The dowry price paid at the time of marriage may be significant, but the greed of husbands and in-laws can grow after marriage. This frequently translates into physical, mental, or sexual violence against the bride. Although seeking a dowry has been outlawed in India since 1961, the ban has been a challenge to enforce. An amendment to the law in 1986 mandated that any death or violence within the first 7 years of marriage would be tried as related to dowry. The reality is that most cases of dowry violence go unreported. And to discuss this very, very sad but very important topic, dowry system in India, we have a very elite, knowledgeable, those who are expert in their own fields, and they knows what is the condition of the dowry system in India are our panelists today. And I would like to invite my first panelist guest, and she is Advocate Jyoti Pawar. Advocate Jyoti Pawar is practicing law for last more than 33 years in Mumbai. She has done Masters in Science and Masters in Law. She worked as a special public prosecutor in Sessions Court, Mumbai, and was on teaching faculty of JC Law College. In 1995, she was appointed as Additional Public Prosecutor, High Court, dealing with important criminal writs as well as criminal appeals. Thereafter, in 1999, she was appointed as the head of writ appellate side, which gave her a chance to defend government in high-stakes matter as well as public interest litigations touching social causes. She was in the panel of central government as senior counsel, Mahada, BMC, in the High Court, Mumbai. At present, she is practicing in High Court, Mumbai. Welcome, Advocate Jyoti Pawar, on our show. Advocate Jyoti Pawar, what to say about today's topic? Everybody knows about the topic. And you being a public prosecutor in the High Court, and that too, you are practicing in criminal side. So you know that how many cases you might be facing, you are prosecuting regarding this dowry deaths. We would like to know from you the dowry system in India. Advocate Jyoti Pawar, please.
Good morning to everyone. Mr. Lal, congratulations on your endeavors taken in organ donation. I have been reading about it. Congratulations to you. And the first and foremost, I would like to say that dowry is a system which is prevalent in India since ages. Like what you said, that the Britishers made it mandatory, the dowry system. Though they had not made it mandatory in their own countries, but they made it mandatory in India. a Dowry Prevention Act was brought into force in 1961. But I feel that though the Dowry Prevention Act is in force, it has no effect at all. Because the dowries which were given earlier for the independence of women, I don't think any independence was given to women by giving dowries, but only to get rid of the liability of the girls who were not very educated that time was the only sole purpose of the families in Indian society, that too in Hindu society. Now, the girls' liability, the girls were seen as liability on the family. And the earlier marriages, that is the child marriages, were very much prevalent. And that time the dowry system was very effective. The dowries were given, and the sons, the bridegroom's parents, they were not happy as such, but they would demand dowry from them time and again. But at least as far as I remember, in old ages, once a dowry was given, that there it would be a full stop. But thereafter, the system reached to such a heights that once the dowry was given to the girl, the bridegroom's father, mother, and the bridegroom himself became so greedy that they started demanding more and more dowry even after taking the girl in their house. So this was a real menace, which, like what you said, has driven so many women to commit suicide. And as per law, in 7 years, if at all a suicide is committed by the girl, then it amounts to dowry death. But although that is the case, now what has happened, that little bit solace is there in the form of that the girls are very educated, they are earning more than the boys. The divorce cases has gone up like anything. Today, the girls are very intolerable. Now, the dowry system which is there, now it has been replaced from dowry to gift. And I feel that the parents who are doing arranged marriages, they give the girl lot of gifts and very costly gifts as far as upper strata of the class is concerned, because I have seen and I have attended so many high class marriages that the bridegroom is given Mercedes car, BMW car, such type of gifts which amounts to lakhs and crores rupees are given by the higher strata, and just to please the guy and the in-laws. Now what has happened that in the lower strata, as far as dowry is concerned, still they demand it, and nobody complains it. So unless and until somebody goes and complains, the Dowry Act cannot come into force. So this is all going on without the cases being registered. Now, as in Uttar Pradesh, in the survey which was conducted in 2020, and it was reported in September 2021, that Uttar Pradesh itself had 20,000 dowry deaths. That amounts to a lot, 20,000.
20 or 2,000 per year? 2,000. 2,000. Yes.
Sorry, 2,000 dowry deaths. And which amounts to a large dowry deaths. And that was only reported, as you said, that so many go without report. And now what has happened, that although the government is saying that educate the girl child so that she knows exactly what is the legal position in our country, and she can fight with the dowry system. Today, even the males, like the bridegrooms, are there, educated bridegrooms who know that taking dowry is a menace in India, and they are also supporting it. But so many are such that those who are very well-to-do, the girls' side, they give it in some or the other form that is in the nature of gift. So I would say that the dowry has been replaced by gifts. Nonetheless, what has happened, that the girl who goes to the house, and if at all a dowry is demanded, now the girls are intolerable and they immediately tell them that we wouldn't give, the girls handle themselves, and if at all it is intolerable, they will leave the in-laws' house. So I feel that the menace as such has not reached to so heights as it was when the uneducated girls were given in the families. Now the educated girls, they are aware about the legal position, and I feel that 498 A of IPC, Indian Penal Code, deals with the cruelty to women. And so many complaints are lodged in police station by the girls nowadays. And so many are false also, that the entire family is taken into jail without even a warrant being issued. Now, the Supreme Court has come heavily on such cases because they have come to know that so many false cases are lodged by girls today. And they have said that unless and until a thorough inquiry is made by the magistrate, the complaint will not be lodged. That is, the FIR won't be lodged against the entire family. So this is the position I have been dealing in the High Court as well. The 498A matters, where the cruelty against the girl, so many false complaints come before us just because the girl can't tolerate simple things which are said by the in-laws. The intolerance of the girls have grown to such a heights that 498A has started becoming, it is misused by the girls so many times. But real cases which are there under 498, where in villages and taluka places, they are unreported because the girls who are staying in the in-laws' place, they know that they cannot go back to their parents' place and they are economically dependent on the in-laws and husband. Therefore, they keep on tolerating such type of abuse, and unless and until some serious form takes place. So it's unfortunate for India that dowry system still exists in some or the other different forms. But unless and until the girls are educated and they are well informed about such type of things, and the way the love marriages and inter-religion, inter-caste marriages are taking place, the dowry system has reduced to some extent as far as higher strata of society is concerned. The love marriages which take place in the lower strata are still being subjected to dowry deaths. But I would say that as far as higher strata is concerned, the girls are very much aware about their rights under the legal position, and they use it as and when required. And the boys are nowadays, in fact, I have seen that the boys are very scared to marry very highly educated and high earning girls, because they feel that even if small type of thing is there, harassment is there, the complaint will be lodged in the police. So there is a scare in the mind of the bridegroom as well as their parents also. But I would definitely say that till now, we have not eradicated the dowry system in India, and it will take much more time to eradicate such a system unless and until the boys' side, they become very firm that they are not going to sell their son to the bride's family, because it is, after all, they give education, they want the value of education of their son to be taken out from the bride, which is not correct. And they actually it is like putting up their son for sale to the bridegroom and demanding money from them. So it's very unfortunate. I feel that even if the laws are brought, before the laws are being enacted, there are always there are routes which they go out of the legal system, and they find out themselves that how this can be changed into some other form so that it can still continue. So I always say that dowry system, which was there earlier, now also it is persisting, but it has taken in the form of gifts, and very costly gifts are given to the girl's side to just appease and please the boy's side. And that is how the dowry system still goes on in India. And to stop this, I don't think that the 1961 law is sufficient, because the people don't come in front to lodge complaints. Nobody comes to lodge complaints against this menace. And yes, if at all the death of the girl is there during the 7 years, then a case is filed in the court and it is tried just like homicide. But unnatural deaths which are there, even they are becoming not getting reported in the police stations. And the parents who are poor, they feel that, okay, it is a suicide and there is no worry. And as far as the case is to be concerned, it has not to be lodged in the police. It is very unfortunate for this system, at least in the poor strata and illiterate strata, I would say. For that, yes, the literacy of the girls is very important. They should be aware about their legal rights, and they should also oppose the gifts and the dowries which are given by the parents to the in-law side. I would say without the conscience being changed of the girls and boys in India, this system will prevail as it is. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Advocate Jyoti, for giving your forthright views. And Advocate Jyoti very clearly says that laws cannot stop this menace. It has to be stopped only when the bridegroom side and especially the boy decide not to take any dowry. And once they will decide, and the girl side also should decide not to give, then only it can be stopped. And they say that, she says that earlier it was dowry, now it has changed to the gifts, expensive gifts, but ultimately whatsoever name you give, it's a dowry in one way. And she says that it's very unfortunate. She quoted about UP, and we have seen, because UP has gone the election only recently, where the highlighted everyone about the UP's achievements in the country. Now we are going to have a very big temple of at Ayodhya and whatnot, and future in Mathura. But nobody talked about that. Almost 1/3 of the dowry deaths are from the same state where we are going to be proud to be having the temple of Shri Ram and Shri Krishna very soon. So this is the condition of women in India. Thank you very much, Advocate Jyoti, for giving your views. Now I would like to invite my next panelist guest, and he is Advocate 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔 𝐍𝐄𝐖𝐒. Advocate 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐿 Singh is MSc Physics LLB. He is President of 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔 Bihar Chapter. He is the Managing Partner, Mars and Mars Legal Advisors LLP. He is the Managing Director at Mars Mountain Security Services Private Limited. He is the Chairman of Labour Resource Subcommittee, Bihar Industries Association. He is member of Regional EPFO Committee, Bihar. He is member of Grievances Redressal Committee, ESIC, Bihar. He is member of Minimum Wages Committee, Labour Department, Government of Bihar. He is member Governing Council, Bihar Skill Development Mission, Labour Department, Government of Bihar. He is Chairman of IR Committee, CII, Bihar State Council. His articles have been published in several prestigious magazines. He is author of Labor Law Support LLS, published by Bihar Industries Association, Bihar, released by ex-president late Shri Pranab Mukherjee. He is having 21 years of experience for running a security and manpower consultancy organization, employing more than 16,000 persons and complying with their statutory labor law obligations. Welcome, Advocate 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔 Singh. Advocate 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔 Singh, you have heard Advocate Jyoti's view. Although Advocate Jyoti comes from a metro city, that is Mumbai, and you are coming from a state which is Bihar. And we know that the Bihar and UP are very close in many ways. And we know the conditions are almost similar, but UP is, because the size of UP is big, but still they are bigger in all the crimes what we are seeing in India today. But still, Bihar is not anywhere less. So we would like to know your views on dowry system in India. Advocate 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔 Singh, please.
Good morning, Goel Sahab. I feel privileged that you have given me an opportunity to discuss this subject, which has been prevalent in the country, in our nation, before my birth. Because I was born in 1964 and this law is from Prevention Act is 1961. And because I was out of session, but you told me that dowry system in India I should discuss tomorrow. I remember that when I was a student in graduation, this subject we have to debate dowry system in India. I think this is in 80s. Until 80s, after 40 years, the subject dowry system has turned to a clear face more. Because the real question is that not only literacy, what Advocate Jyoti Pawar was saying, even the educated people are carrying it. They are showing the society that I have given this house, I have given this Audi car and Mercedes car to my daughter. I have given this much of amount, and I have given this land and that land, all these things. Even the doctors are getting the clinics from their father-in-law doctors. And they are showing to society that this clinic I have donated, gifted to my daughter. So these things are giving a competition to the people in the lower strata of the society. And they are more culprit. You see, even in our mythology, Raja Janak has given this much to Sita, and when Krishna was married her sister Vasundhara to Arjuna, what he has given. And when Lord's son has married his daughter, these things have come in mythology. So it has not only rooted in our mythological and medieval society, but out of this, the Britishers have made a mandatory condition for marriage that dowry should be there. Even it is prevalent in Muslim, there is dower system, dower and meher, Musamma is there. In Christianity also there is a system of gift. So this is strongly embedded in our social culture that whenever a person marries his daughter, he gives some gift to the bridegroom to start his life. And the persons who have completed UPSC, IITs, doctors, and who are more well-placed society, they are getting more dowry than the persons who are just the breadwinners in private company or doing some professional work like us. Advocates have no market in the dowry market. Even advocates are, Mr. Gandhi is also, I think, supporting advocates have no market in the dowry system. We are not being bought in the market. But the persons whose source of income is static, they have got better market. In Bihar and UP, what the thing has done, previously there was no share of property to the daughters. And this was the cause, when the daughter is going, we should give something to the daughter. But after the amendment of Hindu Succession Act in 2005, when Manmohan Singh was the Prime Minister, daughters now can inherit the property of their parents. Daughters have got the right even with the co-parcener, which has been given in a verdict by the Supreme Court in 2020, that they are the co-parceners. So when they are equipped with the right to inherit, equipped with the right to be a co-parcener, which is also creating another imbalance in the society, because if a person having 10 bighas of land and his sister comes and sells her land because she does not live there, so it is also in another way. But I am of the party that yes, daughters should also have the right to inherit the property. So I think this dowry system now has a lessening effect, because the females are getting the right to inherit the property. There was a concept of Stri Dhan. Stri Dhan is the legal term. Stri Dhan was the property given by his father, or earned by her, or given by his father-in-law, or given by his husband. That was called Stri Dhan, which cannot be partitioned until unless on her will. System of Kanyadan was there. In Kanyadan, not Kanya, along with Kanya, you dan something, contribute something to the bridegroom. All these things are embedded in our social culture. And the laws, like Dowry Prevention Act 1961, there is amendment in IPC 498A, which is more a weapon than a shield now. The law has been given to shield against dowry atrocities like abatement to suicide, what Advocate Pawar was saying, and crime against the wives. But recently, a judge, I think Justice Kotwal in Mumbai, has said, the cases we are facing in courts now, I can only say the marriages are made in hell and not in heaven. Because the wives are taking this law against his husband, because the moment you will use this 498A, she can put her husband, his father, all the relatives into bar, and they will have to face the scar of the society that they are put under, because they were oppressing their daughter-in-law or the wife. There was a law of 304B. There was a presumption in the Indian Evidence Act 113B, 113B, and 113A, which says that if there was any evidence of harassment or dowry harassment, and if the girl, if the married woman commits suicide or dies, it is presumed that it is a case under 304B. So these things have made more uglier. And I don't think, Mr. Goel, that any law can do it. The legislation by the government cannot eradicate dowry system in India, because it is a social thing. And the one thing that Mr. Advocate Pawar has said, the independence of girl child, economical independence, that I agree with her, that education, economical independence, health care of female child, it should be must. And it can only be curbed by the youth of the society. Elders, we cannot believe that elders will be able to curtail and control this dowry system. It is the youth only who can contain this, and youths are now marrying on of love and all these things, and they are a bit not taking care of so much of dowry. Still, the dowry is not, the gifting is being done there, and the parents of the daughter feel that I have to give something to my daughter. But when there is an issue of inheritance of property and co-partner status to the female child, I think it should go now. This is my view, and more I will say when I shall be interacting with you with the questions.
Thank you very much, Advocate D.P. Singh, for giving your views. And Advocate D.P. Singh says that, yes, this is prevailing before he was born, and he says that he debated on this same issue 40 years back. But he says that it's not only in the lower caste, even in the lower, sector of the society, but even for the higher sector of the society, the more and more show-off is there. People are taking and gifting the expensive cars. And he also said that there are rate lists of the different professions, like those who are in civil services, IAS, IPS, etc. Then the doctors. And he says, unfortunately, the advocates are nowhere in this line. But the sad part is that in spite of the very stringent law, this tradition or what this system is going on, and it cannot be changed. According to Dr. Advocate Singh, it cannot be changed by the laws. The mindset has to be changed. How the mindset will be changed, that we'll be discussing in our program further. So, thank you very much, Advocate D.P. Singh, for giving your views. Now, I would like to invite my next panelist guest. He's also an advocate, and he's Advocate Gagan Gandhi. Advocate Gagan Gandhi is the managing partner of Niti Nyaya Law Offices, New Delhi. After doing his graduation in mathematics and statistics from St. Stephen's College, he completed his management from Faculty of Management Studies, FMS, University of Delhi. He worked in American Express Private Limited in their Risk and Information Department before he decided to do law from Faculty of Law, University of Delhi. He has research papers on Social and Environmental Disclosure Index, SEDI. He has worked extensively on Right to Information Act, relying on the same for seeking replies as an evidence and for inputs in policy making. Welcome, Advocate Gagan Gandhi, on our show. Advocate Gagan Gandhi, you have heard what Advocate Jyoti as well as what Advocate Singh has mentioned. And both are of the views that this is a menace, but it is prevailing. According to Advocate Singh, it is increasing. It's not declining. And and both have agreed that unless some change is not been done, it's a very sad part or a blot on our society. We would like to know your views on dowry system in India. Advocate Gagan Gandhi, please.
Thanks, Mr. Goel, for giving me an opportunity to speak on such a prevalent and important topic. And I wish all the audience and my co-panelists very good morning. And I was listening to the views shared by Advocate Pawar and Advocate Singh, who have actually laid down the tone for today's discussion. So starting from why this dowry concept actually came into existence. So if you go back in history, the notion which was prevalent at that point of time was that, okay, I'm giving my daughter, so you kindly take care of her, so that
I think we have lost Advocate Gandhi.
Yeah, sorry. There was a
Yeah. Go ahead, please.
So the notion at that time was that, okay, I'm giving my daughter, and the inbuilt fear at that time was that, so that my daughter is taken proper care at her matrimonial house. So that was the concept behind that, and that became a custom. Like we abolished sati, and there are other social evils which were abolished with the passage of time. So this social evil, I would call it a social evil, will also die its natural death. Why? Because of change in laws, because of increasing independence, because of the empowerment which women are getting these days. So this notion will take a backseat. But this is the baggage of the past which we are carrying forward. Now I explain why. So today, the society is witnessing a different kind of trend. The trend is a backlash if you refuse dowry, actually. You are actually seeing somebody who is not in sync with the customs, you are not in sync with the social norms of the society. And you are seeing somebody who is treading a different path. So this baggage of past actually has to be hit, and it has to be realized that the women are independent, financially independent, they can take their decisions on their own. And with the increasing change in laws, as Advocate Singh was pointing out, the 2005 amendment was the landmark amendment actually, with respect to the empowerment of women. So now it is no more the case that, okay, I have given a token amount or I have spent XYZ amount on your marriage and you kindly leave everything. You leave your share in the assets of your parents. That is not the scenario right now. So this indirectly put pressure to get this thing reversed. How? Because now they have a legal right in the properties of their parents. Now, whether you give dowry or not, they are entitled for that same. Earlier it was that, okay, the parents have spent lavishly on the marriage, they have given so much in dowry. So it was an underlying assumption that the daughters will not seek anything from the estate of their parents, but which is not the case right now. So this thing is going to put pressure as and when the society evolves further towards this direction. Now, as it was being pointed out that this Dowry Prohibition Act came into 1963, and whereas 498A, which actually is originating from this menace, came into 1983. Now, interestingly, Dowry Prohibition Act is gender neutral, which majority of people do not know. Even I also did not know before I studied law, which means that either parties can actually can demand dowry. But unfortunately, this fact is not known to majority. Whereas 498A, it is gender specific. It is not gender neutral. So that's a dichotomy. So 498A has two provisions, 498A subclause A and subclause B. So subclause A is actually where the wife is harassed to an extent that she actually thinks of committing a suicide. So that is the kind of harassment she faces at her in-laws' place. So that is the purpose of subclause A. Whereas subclause B, it is actually only confined to the demand. Now, if the wife or is being subjected to demand, then she has a remedy under 498A subclause B. Now, why that remedy is not being given to the husband? He can also be subjected to the uncalled for demands by the in-laws. But having said that, there was another enactment, that was Domestic Violence Act, which came into being, which was not there before. So this enactment actually empowered women further, where they are actually socially, economically, physically, sexually exploited at the in-laws' place. So this enactment actually enabled them to further exercise the rights which they otherwise could not do so, because 498A was limited to only two things. One was the demand and second was the harassment being caused to them. And as was being pointed out, there has been repeated observations, not by the High Court but by the Supreme Court, that this 498A is being misused. And the Law Commission is being directed to reconsider this. State of Andhra Pradesh was the first state to make it compoundable offence. Bombay, state of Maharashtra, has actually given a suggestion that why don't you consider it to be made compoundable. The reason is it will decrease the pendency before the high courts, because eventually these matters are actually settled, being the matrimonial disputes. Now, this is a different kind of paradigm shift which the society is witnessing. where 498A is being used as a tool to seek dowry actually. Now, if you do not transfer the property in the name of my daughter, I will file 490. If you do not give XYZ amount, I will prosecute you under Domestic Violence Act. So these enactments were actually for the empowerment. No, this empowerment should not be misused. It should not be abused. But actually, for those whom it was meant, it is not reaching those people. So unfortunately, this has become actually a tool to seek dowry. The very enactment, which was the purpose for which was to actually curb dowry menace. So which is actually called reverse dowry. Now, the legislature and the judiciary is facing a different kind of situation. Now, after Arnesh Kumar versus State of Bihar in 2013, this judgment was a landmark judgment. Why? Because it actually stopped the automatic arrest. It laid down the laws. It laid down the guidelines that under what circumstances the husband and his family would be arrested. So it was actually landmark judgment as far as the misuse and abuse of these provisions was concerned. Now, after having this 2013 enactment, there is a fresh piece of, we are witnessing a new kind of exodus, and that is the increasing import of 377 in case of marriage disputes. So ultimately, this is actually linked to marriage only, if you look at it in a broader spectrum. Now, since Arnesh Kumar came to the rescue that, okay, we will examine it, and just by a drop of a hat, the complaint should not be filed. Just on a drop of a hat, the investigating agencies should not be burdened. Now, what happens is that the actual cases which should be actually investigated take a backseat. So the quality of investigation goes down drastically in those cases because our system is being filled with this malicious and false prosecution. Now, increasingly, the judiciary is also overburdened because of this fact. But it does not mean that the people who are actually being subjected to such kind of harassment should not get justice. Now, for that, Law Commission came with further improvisation of a malicious prosecution, which has not been enacted. So that's a recent report, 2018 report, which needs to be examined and which needs to be implemented. Now, there are three concepts which arise from this situation. One is the dowry has taken a form of gifts. And third element is the lavish spending which you witness on the marriages. Now, since law prohibits me, so I find another mechanism to appease. So I call it a policy of appeasement. So where it is actually, where there is actually a competition that, okay, my neighbor has spent XYZ amount on marriage. So now it calls for me also to spend XYZ plus some 10% extra. Now this cannot be curbed by any law. This cannot be curbed by any legislature. This has to come from within. And especially the youth should come forward and actually tell that this show of business should go off. So this can only happen if if the society is transformed at the level of the youth. As I told that because we are carrying this baggage of the past. And I see it forthcoming that youth, especially of today's youth, is averse to such kind of spending or such kind of display of money or display of wealth. Not only it propels the comparison, but it also breeds into the concept of inequality. That I am first among equals. So that kind of notion actually should go away. So Supreme Court is also taking cognizance of such lavish spending on marriages also. So there has been some regulations where, and thanks to COVID protocol, that there has been curb on the number of guests which are invited to marriages. So having said that, I see that going forward, it is the economic compulsions which are going to actually put a full stop on this menace called dowry.
Thank you very much, Advocate Gagan Gandhi, for giving your views. Advocate Gagan Gandhi explained, and he said that the acts which has been enacted to prevent dowry or stop dowry system rather been misused more and used to reverse dowry. The bride parents are extracting money from the bridegroom family by threatening them that we will slap a case against you in this 498A or on those cases or the domestic violence case, so you pay us this much. But he says that when this 205 law has been passed, where the daughters are allowed or been entitled now for the share in the family property or the father's property, then why this dowry system should not be finished? Because now the girl, earlier it was that because they have spent more, less amount or whatsoever amount, so whatsoever they want to give the share to the girl, they give in the form of dowry or the gift. But now they are entitled for the property, so they should not get any dowry or gift. But he says that although everyone is thinking seriously, but the solution is not yet come, and it has to come by the involvement of the youth. Then only if the youth will decide not to give or not to take, then only the dowry menace can be finished. Thank you very much, Advocate Gagan Gandhi, for giving your views, very strong views. One point which he has made about this COVID time, the restriction about the invitees, etc. I feel that the systems which are prevailing in abroad in many of the developed countries is that all the whosoever as invitees, they have to pay a certain amount to attend the marriage, so that they will be provided the dinner, and then automatically the fat weddings will cut down drastically, because if anybody has to pay 2,000 or 5,000 or 10,000 rupees per person to attend a wedding, definitely that can curb without bringing any law. Thank you very much, Advocate Gagan Gandhi, for giving your views. Now I would like to invite my last but not the least panelist, and because till now you have heard all the advocates, their legal points, the legal conditions. But now I am inviting our non-advocate panelist, and she is Dr. Namrata Shukla. Dr. Namrata Shukla is the independent management consultant at Muscat. She has over 12 years of experience in teaching, training, consulting, counseling, and mindfulness. She is a PhD in management CSR from the IIT ISM and a certified mindfulness coach from Berkeley, UC. She has experience in teaching and training both Indian and international students. Even while teaching, she was actively engaged in training students and making them market ready for jobs. I'm sure not market ready for marriage. She has designed training programs, especially for BBA and MBA students in the areas of personality development, effective communication, interview skills, among others. Her areas of expertise include communication, personality development, OB, CSR, mindfulness, and stress management. She is also co-founder of Kaizen Mantra, which focuses on training, consulting, and counseling. Welcome, Dr. Namrata Shukla on our show. Dr. Namrata Shukla, you have heard all the three advocates. They have given their views, very, very clear views, that it's a menace. It's not possible to stop it with the help of the law. Rather, law sometimes is playing havoc in this act of the dowry. But they say that it is a social evil and it has to be dealt in that way only. Now, you being an independent management consultant and you are training BBA and MBA students, and as Advocate Gagan Gandhi mentioned about the involvement of youth. So you are interacting with the youth and you know what are the conditions, their conditions. So we would like to know your views on dowry system in India. Dr. Namrata Shukla, please.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you for inviting me on this platform, first of all, and being a part of this discussion, because I'm definitely not into the legal background. So it was really good to know about the views of all the advocates. In fact, my knowledge also increased. So thank you for making me a part of this discussion. Now, coming to today's topic, first of all, let me talk about the myths that are still there in our society, which is why so many, customs and systems are not going away, not being eradicated, in spite of so many regulations, laws, rules in place till date. Now, these laws are, as established in 1960s and 1950s, even like when our parents were quite small, quite young. So since then and coming back to now our children are growing up and we are still talking about that system itself makes us a failure and a failure of the laws. And I speak this with no offense to any advocates and any legal practitioners. So that is, and we should accept this, that it's a failure on our part, on the part of the system itself. Because since the laws has been in place so long and still dowry deaths are there, females are committing suicide in spite of, female empowerment we are talking about financial independence of the females. Now, free education is being provided to females. Then why this is happening? So we should get to the root, to eradicate any problem. It's very important that we first get to the roots of it rather than, just trying to eradicate the effects of the systems. So now getting back to the roots, the myths that are there still prevalent in the society is that, because our ancestors have asked us, or it is a practice for the father to give some gifts in the form of money or wealth or any kind of property to his daughter. But the fact is, like one of the panelists talked about Kanyadan. Now, Kanyadan, we take it that Kanyadan, whenever we talk about Dan, we talk about some or the other material form of Dan that we are talking about. But if you read the religious scriptures, now what is Kanyadan? Kanyadan is that when two families come into alliance, they are talking about, they are seeking permission from their ancestors that now from the girl's ancestors, we ask the girl to accept the ancestors of the boy's side as well and to accept them as her family. So that is why it is said that when after marriage, when a girl, prays to the boy's ancestors, it's more fruitful. It dissolves the karmic whatever debts are there. But if a girl after marriage still prays to her side of ancestors, it does not give much of, dissolution of the karmic debts. So that is a religious side. But what we assume that giving Kanyadan means we have to give some form of material wealth to the girl. So I think we need to improve on education. We need to, stop assuming what things meant to our ancestors. Like this practice of dowry system has been there since ages. It used to be as a strategic business alliance. Even when Mughals were there in India, they invaded. So like Jodha-Akbar alliance, I don't know if any of you might be obviously aware that Jodha-Akbar alliance was also a strategic alliance to expand their empire. So that alliance was there. So the father said that both the Mughals and at that time the Hindus in that region, the western region of India, they wanted to expand their rules, their rule areas. So that's why that alliance was done. Now, that practice has been going on since ages and we are not ready to accept. And even today, the marriages that are happening at the top business families, the most richest of the families in India as well, are considered to be marriages of strategic business alliances because they want to grow. So until and unless that greed is there, that greed to, grow, to expand, to rule the world. So until and unless that feeling is there, I don't think so these systems can be eradicated. Like you said, today is International Day of Happiness. So and India lacks in one of the lowest on that categories, one of the most unhappiest countries. So these are the reasons, because we are not getting kinder, we are not getting calmer, we are just more and more trying to be above the others, like neighbors envy, owner's pride. So it's like being better than the others. So like if one person is spending, as rightly said by one of the panelists, that one of our neighbors is spending money on his daughter's marriages, so they want to spend it more than the neighbor because they want to show off better than them. And especially in this era of Facebook and Instagram, the show off, I think, has increased. So if we really want to train the youth, I think we need to train them on the facts that it's not good to show off. There's no point in showing off, because nowadays that Instagram marriage photographies are there, Facebook marriage photographies are there. So for that, people spend lakhs and lakhs of rupees just for few photographs. So I really don't understand that how now, if we are talking about educating the youth, so we need to empower. There are definitely youths, there are definitely people in our generation also nowadays who are, considering marriage as, as an interdependent alliance, because the girls need the boys and the boys need the girls. They are both interdependent. It's a mutual partnership. Nobody can do one cannot do without the other. So that's very important to understand for the youth as well, that showing off will not take them anywhere. So until and unless our youth understands it, I think show off has increased more because of these social media platforms. So there are different set of population, different set of youth who are, into social services. I recently read somewhere two Indians, a girl and a boy, married, and they donated whatever money they wanted to spend in their marriage. Both of them mutually agreed to spend it for some form of, social improvement, for NGOs. Some planted trees in their area. So a lot of things are being done, but I think these are being done on like one or two people are doing these things. But a majority of the population is of the view that, marriage is all about show off. Like that is why we call big fat Indian wedding. Why don't we call big fat, a Gulf wedding, or a big fat US wedding, or a big fat British wedding? Because at those places, marriages are usually very simple and sober, usually, most of the time. I am not generalizing this. So we need to understand this, that showing off is only a wastage of wealth. Now, also considering the fact that in India, there is so much of poverty. Now, once they decide that if the money that is being spent on marriages, if that can be utilized in a better way to uplift the society, I think our country would also rank higher on the happiness index. So if we improve not only our conditions, but the conditions of the society as a whole. And moreover, dowry system has, I feel, that over a period of time has been a little less, because yes, women are getting educated, women are getting financially independent, women are getting financially empowered. So when you are at my childhood in both UP and Bihar, so my background there, I have not seen in my close community, in my relative or nearby friends, where dowry had been a problem, or dowry had been a matter of concern during marriage. In fact, my parents,
I think we are not. Your network is giving problem. Your network. Sorry, Dr. Shukla, your network is giving problem.
Was against the dowry system. So, is that okay now? Am I audible?
Now you are audible.
Okay. So I'm sorry for that.
No, again, some problem is there. You are at Muscat or in India?
No, I am at Muscat. Internet are prevalent everywhere in the world.
So the same
Internet
problems.
issues are prevalent everywhere in the world.
Okay.
Yes, there are certain things which are universal.
So you are saying about your marriage, something about your own.
Yeah, so I was talking about that I am the third generation that I am seeing. There was no talk about this dowry system, or even my parents were married without dowry. And in my marriage, also in the marriage of my families, be it boys or girls, like there was no talk. It was not a matter of discussion at all. So that is the kind of empowerment that education gives. So it helps us understand that these things are of little importance, because marriage, as I said, is a mutual interdependent partnership. No one can do without the other. So once the society understands that this, I think these systems will not be prevalent anymore. So that's what we need to do. We need to make people understand. And it was really a surprising number for me that in UP, 2,000 deaths were there because of dowry system. So I have not seen in my family or my extended family anything of this kind. But yes, I know friends from Bihar, who did not marry because they had, certain demands for dowry. And the girls were against the dowry system, so they just decided that they will not get married. So I think if they are happy in that way, it's fine, as long as they are happy. So but yes, as parents, definitely they feel, upset about their children not getting married because of these, systems prevailing in the society. But the youth is doing absolutely fine. They feel that as long as they are financially independent, empowered, they don't need someone to support them just because, it's a social norm to get married. So, yes, there are people who just did not get married because in their religion, in their custom, because there are different sections of, caste and creed where the norms are different. So they just decided that since in their religion, in their caste, it's so much deep grained, it's so much prevalent that they just have, discarded of that marriage is not for us. But they are doing fine. So I think education, empowerment are the things, and we also need to, train the youth not to show off. So I think India will do much better if these things are practiced and if the youth is educated. So
Okay.
that's from me.
Okay, thank you very much, Dr. Shukla. And Dr. Shukla says that youth are changing, and if youth will decide, and she says that many of the girls have not married because they do not want to pay the dowry, and they were against the dowry system. And if they are happy, they should be happy. And she has given all the details how the things are happening in India. But she still says that the change has to be done. Otherwise, and she was shocked to know about in UP. This 2000 is a token figure. It's just for record's sake. I'm sure what figure Advocate Jyoti has given was the correct figure. This figure is just on the record side, you can imagine. Thank you very much, Dr. Shukla. Now I would like to ask Advocate Jyoti. Advocate Jyoti Pawar, you have heard what Dr. Shukla says. She says that girls are now taking decisions not to marry, etc. But I am putting to you in different way. In my opinion, I have seen many girls who are responsible for that more and more dowry. They want more big fat marriage. They want their parents should give more and more because her friend got so much a Mercedes car. So the S model now she wants, and more things. So why to blame only the boys? Blame the girls also. So that is what I want to know. If the girl decide, no, I will not give the dowry. If anybody will ask, even 1 rupee, I will not marry. How handsome he is or how highly placed he is, whether he's a doctor, IAS or IPS. But the girl also wants that because 2005 this law has come. So they want to extract. They know that what is going to happen afterwards, how to claim the property rights. Why not to extract the money as much as we at the time of marriage? What do you say about that, Advocate Jyoti?
That's the reality, Mr. Lal, because what has happened that today the social media is so active that everybody, every person, whether belong to whatever strata, they are on the social media platform and they want to show off to the world that what type of partners they have, what type of lavishness they have. I have seen one of the peons in my office, he celebrated his marriage, the daughter's marriage. The daughter has done the marriage on the social media. She's put pre-wedding shoot, after-wedding shoot, pregnancy shoot, everything they put on the social media and they want to show off that see how nicely we are doing. So it's very unfortunate because even I also believe that even the girls are responsible in some way to demand from their fathers that yes, this person has done this, so even I want to do this. It's all show off, nothing else. But I will also say at the same point that whatever Dr. Shukla said, I respectfully disagree with her because the basic goal of marriage has been lost with today's youth. Actually, the marriages are celebrated for continuing the progeny and also for the emotional well-being and partnership of a boy and a girl, for which we have totally forgotten. First, the women were totally economically dependent on the in-laws' house. Therefore, there was no fights. They used to be very subdued and they used to adjust. Today, what has happened that the economic independence is so much with the girls that they have forgotten that adjustment has to be there from their side also. The male pattern of our Indian society, which is a dominating factor in our society, will always remain. This has been forgotten, and the girls feel that they should be respected in their house because they are doing so much of income, that much income, and that is why all sorts of divorce proceedings have come in front. In fact, I will tell you, Mr. Lal, by my own experience, that the girls who have now, ladies who have reached my age and who have remained unmarried, what Dr. Shukla was saying that they are all right if economically they are independent. No, emotional dependence is very important because what has happened today, some of my colleagues are telling me that please search for some suitable persons of our age so that we can marry now also and we can become little bit, because we are very, very disturbed at this age and we require a partner. For if we fall ill, there's nobody for us. The people, the relatives are abroad. We are all alone here. So this type of things crop up as per the age. And I feel that this type of partnership is very necessary in life for emotional well-being and for helping the persons. And therefore, today's the generation has forgotten what is the goal for marriage: to give the progeny to the family, give them the generations ahead, and also for the not only economic independence, but also for the emotional well-being. Marriage is a must. And I feel that everybody should enter into marriage and not do just because you are economically independent, you definitely repent after the age is gone for where you can really economically be independent. And then you have a lot of money and your personal life is totally distorted. Therefore, I feel that everyone should get married and marriage should be same as what it was earlier. It should be an institution as far as India is concerned. And this institution should not be destroyed in any way. That is what I feel.
Okay, thank you, Advocate Jyoti. Although I also respectfully disagree with one of your point that the girls should adjust. Why the girls should only adjust? Why the boy is not adjusting? After all, this is a equal society. Nowhere the boys are superior than the girls, but rather the girls are superior than the boys. The girls are the creators. Boys are not the creators. So whenever we always blame the girls, I blame for the dowry, but I will never blame a girl that she should compromise. She should adjust in the in-laws' house. Why the boys was not? Why the boy was not trained to adjust with the girl and the girl's family?
I was going to come to it that the boys should be also trained, but as far as Indian mentality is concerned,
no, but we have to change that. That's why we are doing this program.
Definitely.
The mentality has to be changed, and the mentality has to be the girls have equal right. Forget about the legality. Otherwise, also socially, then only, and that's why if you see the UP and Bihar, the worst part is that the girls are male-dominated area. Male chauvinism is so much. Whatsoever we are talking, they think that this is just a joke. In their houses, even in educated houses, I have seen there is a male domination everywhere. Thank you very much, Advocate Jyoti.
No. One thing I just want to say, Mr. Lal, that this has to be overcome. But it will take definitely some time for this.
How many more years?
We never know that. We never know that.
But see, we have stopped Sati Pratha. That was also the social evil. We have stopped so many things. Child marriage we have stopped. Why we cannot stop dowry? And it should be stopped very firmly.
That should be done.
Even if some misuses are there, laws are always misused. Sedation laws are not misused. Can you scrap the sedation law? No. Why only 498A? Because this is a matter of girls. And that's why the political will is not there. But sedation law, there's a power with us. We do not want to scrap the sedation law. So it is not this. I think the man chauvinism, man dominance is always there. And we have to change. And if we will not change, then this is not a good society to stay. If we cannot change this type of evil mentality of the man chauvinism. Thank you very much, Advocate Jyoti. Now I would like to go to Advocate D.P. Singh. Advocate D.P. Singh, earlier I blamed the girls for the dowry. Now I'm blaming the girls' parents. I have seen the parents wants to show off. Oh, see, I am spending 5 crores, 2 crores, 2 lakhs, 5 lakhs. Why? What for? And as Dr. Shukla said, show off. I have seen in Bihar, I have not seen, but I have read in the media, Mr. Sushil Modi, the leader of BJP leader, earlier the deputy chief minister, at the time of the wedding of his son or daughter, I can't remember right now, he asked everyone to fill up the organ donation form. It was a news. Now, if we will make such type of compulsion in all the society, all those who are having the social things like so-and-so Agrawal Sabha or Kayas Sabha or Kshatriya Sabha or Matru, whatsoever Sabhas, they must make it compulsory. Any social event has to take place in the wedding. I'm sure the number of persons attending will be less. Nobody would like to go for organ donation in India. The mentality is so crap here. But my point to you is the parents of the bride is more responsible because they want to show off. I'm not talking of the those who are the lower middle class or the lower class. I'm talking of the higher class. They want to show off, and that is why lots of problems are happening in the higher society bride, and lots of the dowry is going. And that, as Advocate Jyoti, as Dr. Shukla said, highlighted on social platform, social media. So it will become a benchmark. People would like to go further. Then, what do you say about this, Advocate Singh?
Mr. Goel, I would like to disagree with you. What I am seeing in Bihar and UP, the parents of the brides are the lesser devils. The greater devils are the parents of the bridegrooms. They are demanding money. They are demanding so many things. The parents of the brides, they are just doing out of the pleasure and the gift. They can give to their daughter. They should not be forbidden to give their daughter. That is okay. Nothing else. If you want to give anything, you can. But what they are asked, they are demanding, which is in the section 4 of the Dowry Prevention Act. They are demanding money. They are demanding house. They are demanding land. So they are the cause, they are the root cause of this prevalence of dowry system. And what you have said in the very beginning, the words of the father of the nation, Mr. Gandhi, that the society should boycott the person who makes dowry as a precondition. But we are not doing. What we are doing, we are giving more honor, more prestige to this person. The person who is organizing the marriage in a very pomp and grandeur style, we are giving more name and fame to them. The person who are demanding, even during my days, my father said that person was selected in Indian engineering service, and his father is asking this much money. What you people are doing? I have no hand. Because you have not competed anywhere. When I competed in railways, my mother has also fixed a price upon me. And now I will ask this much money. So these things happened those days. In UPSC, both these questions are being asked to the Bihar and UP boys that you are going to be selected. But I think I am going to commit a wrong because now your father will demand a heavy sum from the father of the bridegroom. So the parents of the brides are the lesser devils, much more lesser devils. The society, this evil will not survive on the parent of the bride. These evils are surviving on the basis of the parents of the bridegroom.
Okay. Thank you very much, Advocate Singh, to disagree with me. I like that thing because, yes, you are right. Many bridegroom's parents are like Sherlocks, and they want to take even the last blood of the from the family of the bride. So that is also correct. Now, my question goes to Advocate 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔 𝐍𝐄𝐖𝐒. Advocate 𝐂𝐀𝐑𝐔 𝐍𝐄𝐖𝐒, you mentioned about the misuse of this act. Don't you think the one of the reason is the stringent divorce act in India, the divorce law? There's one of the reason that this act is misused. I will just tell you, if the divorce is easy, then the girls would like to go for the divorce. If she is not happy, she's been harassed, then they will not like to misuse these acts just to harass or to create problems. Number one. Number two, no dowry deaths will take place, or very few. It will lessen because the girl knows, or the girl parents knows, that we will go for the divorce immediately. So, but here they knows that even if we will go for the divorce, it will take years and years, defamation of the family, and the way the courtroom, they defame the girl, the character assassination, etc., etc. So don't you think that if we will ease the divorce law, it will also ease the dowry misuse act, what you have mentioned? What you say about this, Advocate Gandhi?
No, absolutely, Mr. Goel, I agree that, but on the contrary, misusing these provisions will give you a backlash. How it will give you a backlash is the fact that we think that, okay, if I exercise this right, which is bestowed upon me by the statute, then I may be in a better position to bargain or to achieve a desired objective. But this process is such that it will leave scars on both sides. So it's not easy for the prosecution as well as for the accused. So it's a difficult terrain for both the sides, the prosecution as well as the accused.
Hello, Advocate Gandhi, we lost you. Advocate Gandhi, are you there?
Yeah, I'm there. Sorry, this got disconnected.
Yeah, please go ahead.
Yeah. So I was actually talking about the backlash which this misuse actually causes. So, and unfortunately, what happens is that everything actually gets converted into economic implications. So let's say both of us do not agree on a certain issue. It does not mean that I have to pay you something or you have to pay me something. So marriage is not a business venture, which unfortunately it has become one, as Dr. Shukla was pointing out. So it has become a strategic alliance, especially in case of an arranged marriage. And I borrow what Advocate Tawar was saying, that the very purpose of this marriage is being defeated. Now, this concept of dowry actually was to facilitate marriage. Now, what it has done is it has actually, on the contrary, ruined the marriage. So, I give you comforts, I give you everything so that the marriage is facilitated, so that the union of two people and a larger converse, the union of two families actually is seamless. But now, bringing economic implications into this pious relationship, which we consider especially in Hindus as a sacrament, has actually caused havoc on every aspect. Now, how will you satisfy the social quest? How will you satisfy the spiritual quest? How will you satisfy the emotional quest? That's the larger question. Now, economic empowerment or financial independence are not going to help you achieve all the other parameters which perhaps this marriage is going to provide you. So that's one dimension of the marriage. But unfortunately, this dimension has become so dominant or so powerful that it has actually overcolored all the other dimensions. Now, coming to what you were asking.
Yes.
That if the divorce laws becomes easy, so now if you look at sum and substance, what is that? There are few rights which are there with the girl. There are few rights which are there with the boy. The rights are that the girl seeks alimony and the boy seeks, if there is a child, the visitation, right? The visitation which is given to him to visit the child. Now, as Advocate Pawar was pointing out, that the purpose of marriage, apart from these dimensions, was also to take forward the family. Now, if I actually kill that very substance, the progeny, then the entire purpose is defeated. And why progeny is important in the Indian context, one has to understand. Because we have a successionary law in India, which perhaps is not there in the Western side. There, the entire, whatever you earn is taken over by the state, and state takes care of your entire responsibility, which unfortunately is not there in India. So the concept of progeny is linked to the successionary laws which are prevalent in India. So we have to, so any law or anything which is evolved in a society is actually linked to the customs of that particular society. Now in India, since state is not taking care of the well-being, so actually especially the children come forward and take care, and they are linked to the successionary laws. So that is how this cycle of perpetuity.
No, I understand, but Advocate Gandhi, my question is still unanswered. I'm
coming to that.
Please, be short, because I've brief because now.
Without explaining this.
I understand, but please, time is posture time.
No, so I agree. The judiciary has taken cognizance of this. So we are having divorce which are taking place in 2 days. 2 days of marriages are getting separated. Just because the two did not go well, so does not mean that they have to be there for the entire rest of their life. So it actually depends on the two individuals. The system is
but how many days this is taking, or how many months or years taking for divorce?
I'm telling you, there are marriages which are getting dissolved in as less as 2 days' time. Punjab and Haryana High Court actually came forward with that, but that could only take place.
Sorry?
If it is mutual.
Yeah, exactly. So I was coming to that. So if it depends on the maturity level.
No, but the question is, when the dowry thing is involved and the harassment is involved, it cannot be mutual. It has to be allegations and of that. Anyway, thank you very much, Advocate Gandhi. You have made a point. But you mentioned about Hindus. We are very much proud to say ourselves that we are Hindus. Why not we highlight our shortcomings, that we are the persons who are dowry seekers? We are Hindus, we are dowry seekers. We should also highlight this. We should also make a film on the dowries, how the evil Hindus are asking for dowry. Thank you very much, Advocate Gandhi, for that. Now my question goes to Dr. Namrata Shukla. Dr. Namrata Shukla, whatsoever you say, but the main thing is the mindset has to be changed even for the bride side, the girl side. Why the parents or the girl want to marry in a high family, a more educated family, IAS, IPS, or the doctor, as Advocate Singh said? Why not a lesser person? After all, if, as Advocate Jyoti says, that one has to compromise, the girl is compromising by going for a higher family than her own family. If the girl will go in a lower family, definitely no question of the dowry will be there, and the adjustment will not be that problem. My question to you is, don't you think the fault lies with the girl and the girl family more than the boys and boys family? If they decide to marry a normal person, an advocate, in the case as Advocate Singh was mentioning that he is not getting any dowry, the advocate. So an advocate not going to marry for IAS or IPS or a doctor, what is the problem? Advocates are also human beings, and they are also quite... anyway, thank you. Yes, Dr. Shukla.
Okay, so thank you for that question. But first of all, I would like to clarify to Madam Jyoti's statement that I am very much with the institution of marriage. I am happily married, touchwood, by God's grace. Since 3 generations, I have not seen any cases of dowry inside my family or extended families. So that's one thing. And regarding the question of girls not getting married, it's just because they don't have a recourse. They just don't want to burden their parents just because of the evils prevailing in the society. So since they don't have an option, they don't have that much money or that much wealth that they can provide dowry. So they decide to, stay alone. Obviously, it leads to emotional disturbance. I am very much with that. Being an NLP practitioner also, marriage alliance is very much important for our emotional well-being. Now, coming to Mr. Goel, your question. As you said, why not the girls choose a boy from a lower class, a family from a class lower than them? And I counter question you, why not the girls, seek marriage alliance in a higher family, and those higher families accept the girls as they are without a dowry? So why? So we can change that mindset. So if that mindset change, I think a lot of evils from the society will reduce.
See, Dr. Shukla, question is not the lower. Lower means why only for IAS, IPS, civil service or the doctors? Why not other? After all, so many professionals are there, so many persons who are working. If they will go, if the family alliance in such a way, when we know in India and especially in Hindus families, as mentioned by Advocate Gandhi, this is evil. So if the girl decide to, or the girl family decide to marry a girl in a family which is not above their strata in financially or education wise, what not, then the girl will not face any dowry problem. This is my only thing. Now, please say.
Yes, true. In that case, girls will not. But, I have seen families also who are, lower in status than the girl's family. So they seek more demands, they ask for more dowry because the girl is well-to-do, because they want to extract and, make undue demands from the girl's family just because they are not well-to-do and the girl's family is well-to-do.
Okay,
so I think the mindset has to change. It's not about, marrying in a lower class or an upper class.
Okay, thank you very much. So viewers, you have seen today the experts have given their very, very valuable opinion, and they are very clear that this is a social evil and it has to be removed by changing the mindset. It cannot be done by changing the laws. Whatsoever stringent law comes, we tend to misuse those laws. So it is always better that we should change. Who is going to change? This is the responsibility of the civil society, not the leaders or anyone else. If the civil society is not interested to change, if they don't want to see the well-being of their own daughters, then what more evil they are going to do? Everyone has to understand one thing. We pray to goddesses in Hindu society, especially during the Navdurgas, in the winter session as well as in the summertime. All those 18 days are just a lip service, or really we pray to the goddess? If we pray to the goddess, how we can harass any girl in this country for want of dowry? This is something, I think, the biggest sin which any family is doing. It's not only the father of the nation has said in a very, very polite way, I can say in a very cruel way, that they are the sinners. And those who are asking or taking any dowry from a girl, they are the sinners of the worst kind. And until unless we will not change and we will not name and shame them publicly, it is not going to change. And I appeal to all the youth to come forward and name and shame, even if they have to name and shame if their own family, that they have taken this much dowry. Then only come on the social platform, write down that my father and mother has taken this much money from my would be or going to be my wife. Then only the change can come fast. Otherwise, 100 or 200 or 500 years, we will again discuss in the next after the 7th or 8th generation of media conference with Lal Goel. Thank you very much. And today's program has been live telecasted by V4 News, Caru News, V4 Stream, Malnadu TV India, News Gaon se, Samvad Sarokar News, Bharat Post News, Gyan, as well as shown live on Facebook and YouTube. And in our endeavor to bring to you every day a new topic in media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 a.m. Tomorrow our topic is ancient education versus modern education. And our panelists are Professor Dr. R.K. Arya. He is the Professor of International Economics at Manav Rachna International Institute of Research and Studies, Faridabad. Dr. Sapna Agrawal, she is the Director, Academics, Edge Academy, Kota, and she is also the founder of Big Wonder on YouTube. And Dr. C.K. Manjunath, he is the Student Welfare Officer at Shri Madhva Vadiraj Institute of Technology and Management, Udupi. So please tune in tomorrow for media conference with Lal Goel at 10:30 am. Thank you very much, Advocate Jyoti Pawar. Thank you very much, Advocate D.P. Singh. Thank you very much, Advocate Gagan Gandhi. And thank you very much, Dr. Namrata Shukla, for giving your views, very, very clear views. And I'm sure all our viewers are quite enlightened and they will at least try to see that no dowry should be given from their side, or they should not accept any dowry, even if the girl side would like to give. Thank you very much, and thank you viewers for watching our show.